Assume for a moment that magically somehow the entire US population had an epiphany and woke up the next day with the exact same work ethic, fiscal frugality, and financial discipline of the World War II generation. Even if this did happen, relying on the current retirement system would still be mathematically impossible for the majority of people. And the reason is found in the fact we use the stock market as the default investment vehicle to fund our retirements. As alluded to before, why do we have the stock market and the mutual funds those individual stocks compose as the only investment we can make for retirement? Why not selling the farm? Why not living off the family business? What is so special about mutual funds, stocks, bonds, IRAs, 401ks, and 403bs? And the answer is tax deductions. Without going into the long and boring story of U.S. retirement law, in 1980, a young man named Ted Bana noticed a 1978 provision in the IRS tax code labeled 401k. Though not originally designed to become the default retirement program for the entire U.S. population, he found it could be repurposed by employers to offer an effective retirement plan for their employees, the largest benefit being you could write off your contributions to this new 401k plan. Even though this would cost the government money, providing a financial incentive in the form of a tax deduction for people to save for retirement was not only popular, but also made good financial sense. It would prompt people to sock away funds for a rainy day and lessen people's increasing dependence on Social Security as their primary source of retirement. And so, over the past 4 decades, additional laws were passed creating and officially codifying programs like the 401k, IRA, 403b, etc. as the quote-unquote official way to save for retirement. There was, however, an unintended problem. The problem was that in dedicating financial markets as the only place to invest for 401ks, IRAs, etc., this retirement plan would only work for the generation already on the cusp of retirement, the World War II generation at the time, and the generation that would be buying into the financial markets on the ground floor, the baby boomers. Any generations after would be buying into an artificially inflated market. Worse, it would be at least 30 years before any new generations would have the jobs and therefore the money to invest in the stock market, giving the stock market more than adequate time to have its price driven up beyond what its profits warranted. This has not only made the stocks roughly twice as expensive for young investors and interest rates on bonds abysmally low, but has introduced an impossible and incredibly dangerous variable into today's retirement planning: perpetual capital gains. In other words, stocks always have to go up. Understand that the entirety of the financial planning and retirement industries relies on the stock and bond markets perpetually going up, aka capital gains, by an average of 8 to 8.5% per year over the long run. If they don't, then there is not enough growth in people's retirement accounts to attain that magical $500,000 threshold by the time they retire. Worse, retirement planning also assumes you will continue to earn 8 to 8.5% on that $500,000 even after you retire. Otherwise, you'll run out of money long before you die. This has put the entire focus of the retirement industry on a stock's price and not the fundamentals that actually drive a stock's value. And you see this every day. If you ask a person why they're investing in a stock or a mutual fund, 99% of them will say, because it will go up in price. But this is neither a complete nor satisfactory answer. Why should those stock prices go up? What drives them? They just can't go up forever. There has to be a reason. And there is. Profits. Profits are the only real reason stock prices should go up. If profits go up by 5%, then the price of a stock should go up by 5%. If profits go down by 10%, then the price of a stock should go down by 10%. But while well-intentioned as it may have been, the advent of the 401k has changed everybody's focus from the fundamentals of profits to the mere price of the stock. And if we use profits or dividends as a barometer as to what stock prices should be, they have increased at roughly twice the rate profits have grown, making stocks twice as expensive. In other words, it is the unconscious behavior of mindlessly making monthly contributions into your 401k or IRA for 30 years that has flooded the market with trillions of retirement dollars that would otherwise not be there. This has not only fundamentally changed why people invest, quote unquote, because it'll go up, but has made the entire US and other countries' retirement systems completely dependent upon irrational, unsupported, and perpetual capital gains/price increases. An entire retirement system reliant upon forever increasing stock prices is not only highly prone to bubbles, but it raises a very important question. How much do stocks have to go up by for all Americans to retire on?